Unwarranted damage to the environment is always a potential risk due to the nature of the operations and activities carried out by the defense team. This includes civilian employees of DND and members of the Canadian Forces. The Deputy Minister and Chief of Defense Staff have committed the defense team to an enhanced level of environmental awareness. It is department policy that everyone must take personal responsibility to help reduce or eliminate the risk of damage to the environment. All members of the defense team must obey both the letter and spirit of all applicable federal environmental laws, as well as appropriate provincial, municipal, and international legislation. Protecting the environment will ensure a safe, healthy, and sustainable world for us and our children. By being properly diligent, we can also avoid being involved in costly lawsuits. This video will give you some ideas of what you can do to protect the environment. Remember, you can make a difference. The Canadian Environmental Protection Act defines environment as air, land, and water, all layers of the atmosphere, all organic and inorganic matter and living organisms, and all the natural systems that link them together. In other words, the environment includes everything that surrounds us. Individuals must understand their legal responsibilities and liabilities to perform their duties effectively. Environmental laws focus mainly on preventing pollution and protecting habitat. These laws deal with managing natural resources, handling hazardous materials, forest conservation, noise pollution, air and water quality, and endangered species. Members of the defense team should be especially concerned with 4 main federal environmental acts, all designed to protect different parts of the environment. These are the Canadian Environmental Protection Act, the Fisheries Act, the Canadian Environmental Assessment Act, and the Transportation of Dangerous Goods Act. The Canadian Environmental Protection Act is chiefly concerned with protecting human life and health from toxic substances wherever and whenever they are procured, used, handled, or stored. Toxic substances covered by the Act and used by DND include ozone-depleting substances and PCBs. The Fisheries Act is designed to protect fish habitat and fish and aquatic animals throughout their entire life cycle. The Act prohibits damaging fish habitat or contaminating waters that could harm fish. It is illegal to drive military vehicles through fish spawning grounds, to contaminate water by spilling or pumping waste or toxic substances into it, to allow spilled liquids to directly or indirectly enter fish habitat via groundwater, runoff, or through sewers. The Canadian Environmental Assessment Act requires that an environmental impact study be undertaken before certain physical work or activity is carried out. An environmental assessment is completed in the planning stage, so that potential damage to the environment can be reduced or eliminated before it is too late to change things. The Act has 4 purposes. to consider the environmental effects before certain physical work or activity is undertaken. To promote sustainable development. To ensure that projects do not cause environmental problems to non-federal government neighbors. And to provide an opportunity for public participation in the environmental assessment process. The Transportation of Dangerous Goods Act provides guidelines for the safe handling and transportation of dangerous goods of any kind by air, land, or water. Dangerous goods are defined as any substances that could endanger life, property, or the environment. Though D&D is exempt from this act, it is departmental policy to observe its requirements, as well as any provincial regulations governing the transportation of dangerous goods. Follow these common precautions when transporting dangerous goods. Label all containers that hold dangerous goods. Maintain a manifest system to log and track dangerous goods. Place placards on vehicles that hold dangerous goods. Ensure drivers are properly trained to transport dangerous goods. You must know who to contact and what to do if there is a spill or accident. Penalties for violating the Fisheries Act and the Canadian Environmental Protection Act can be quite severe, including fines of up to $1 million and imprisonment. These penalties apply not only to the department, but to individuals as well. It is D&D's environmental policy to follow not only the spirit, but the letter of federal environmental legislation. Where possible, we will comply with municipal, provincial, territorial, and international environmental standards as well. Not only is it our policy to follow environmental regulations, it's the law. Due diligence is a legal term that requires you to take all reasonable care when carrying out your tasks or duties. Due diligence means that you behave responsibly by following all the rules and regulations. Prepare for risks that a thoughtful and reasonable person would foresee. Respond to incidents as soon as they arise. For example, if you were refueling your vehicle in the field, ensure that no fuel can spill on the ground by placing drip pans or mats on the ground under the vehicle that is being refueled. Be prepared by having cleanup material available and know how to use it. If a spill does occur, respond immediately. Due diligence is the best defense against prosecution under Canada's environmental laws, because it shows that you took all steps within your power to ensure your activity does not adversely affect the environment. The Department of National Defense has developed several initiatives in order to protect the environment, as well as to protect the department and its members from possible legal action.
Looks like he's turning in though, sir.
The Code of Environmental Stewardship commits defense team members to do the following. Think of the environmental consequences of whatever you do and incorporate them into your decision-making. Meet or exceed the letter and spirit of all federal environmental laws, and whenever possible, be compatible with municipal, provincial, territorial, and international standards. Improve the level of environmental awareness throughout the department with training programs and recognize the special efforts of individuals who take steps to protect the environment. Before planning to acquire any hazardous material, make sure you have properly assessed whether it's possible for you to transport, use, store, and dispose of the material safely. Ensure environmental considerations are integrated into procurement policies and practices. Practice pollution prevention in day-to-day activities by seeking cost-effective ways to reduce the consumption of raw materials, toxic substances, energy, and water, and to reduce the production of waste and noise. Acquire, manage, and dispose of lands in a manner that is environmentally sound and protects ecologically significant areas. DND supports the concept of sustainable development, which means we will promote development that does not compromise the ability of future generations to meet their needs. For the defense team, this means that we will only carry out military activity in a way and in places that does not harm the environment for future generations or needs. The department has incorporated sustainable development into its activities. This policy has led to numerous initiatives. Examples include reducing our use of hazardous materials, reducing noise at airfields, firing ranges, and training areas, preventing pollution, ensuring effluents and sewage discharges will meet applicable standards, sending PCBs for destruction as they are phased out, reducing solid waste sent to landfills by practicing the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Protecting cultural and heritage resources. Bringing fuel storage tanks into compliance with federal guidelines. Training unit environment officers. Developing general environmental awareness training materials. Protecting the atmosphere by reducing ozone-depleting substances and greenhouse gas emissions. Identifying and cleaning sites contaminated by past activities. Being environmentally conscious at work and at home can make a difference to the environment. Due diligence provides legal protection and, most important, spares the environment for the benefit of future generations. Whether you are sitting at a desk, refueling equipment, or on an exercise, your actions have an impact on the environment. Become aware of environmental laws and policies by consulting with unit and base environment personnel, viewing intranet sites, or reading the appropriate literature. Know the environmental hazards of your job and observe environmental laws and policies at your workplace as you perform your duties. If you have any questions or doubts about your ability to deal with a situation, tell your supervisor. Ignorance is no excuse. Remind others around you that the same laws and policies apply to them. If an environmental incident does occur, report it to your superior and initiate your response plan. You have an ethical responsibility to protect the environment. Failure to act responsibly can damage the environment and can also damage your unit's reputation. The Department of National Defense is one of the largest landowners in Canada. By practicing sustainable development, we will continue to carry out our defense team activities in the future. You can make a difference.